farming. I mean, that's supposed to be funding the
Pay the producer.
pay the producer.
It can be a pay the developer and pay the producer, because you can do that on both the app and the content.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so the reason why it can't be gamed, well, not necessarily gamed, but like massively exploited, is because first of all, you have to pay a coin to do the vote, and that coin goes to a farming attempt. The reason why I like doing it that way, which I'm trying so hard to explain to everyone, is the farming attempt is subject to the supply of farmable coins. So let's say the network actually drains all of its supply of coins, right? So that means there's no more, the farming attempt will fail for the developers and the content producers if everyone is hoarding. You know, in other words, if there's no actual people spending. Let's say for some unforeseen reason that people really aren't spending as much SafeCoin on the network, and so the available supply of coin goes down. What the like does is actually adds to it. It starts adding to it. And so as more supply becomes available, then the farming attempt starts to succeed, which ends up paying granularly to the developer or the producer.
Right. So, what I want to talk about, like, what I want to bring up is the GET request. So, like, a lot of people had the adverse reaction to the GET request. But let's consider that. Let's consider that. You know, for
that's referring to the current pay the producer model.
Okay, so think about the scenario. Like,
which is not the same as the Paperlike. Just want to emphasize that.
Exactly. So think about the scenario where people stop spending SafeCoin, right?
For put requests.
For put requests, exactly.
Right.
Okay, so now you've got, like, you get a situation where if people don't spend SafeCoin to put new content, no new SafeCoins will come out through pay the producer or app development, because all data has entered cache.
Yes.
And all new subsequent hardware entering the network will serve to cache more content.
Right? I'm not disagreeing with you.
Exactly. So, I mean, in my estimation, like, the original design is exactly how it should be. Is, look, we put 1,000 files out there, and we spend 1,000 SafeCoins, and now people get those, and then 1,000
from farming.
Yeah, and people get those, and then 1,000 people, 1,000 farmers get one SafeCoin during that process. And because there's far more capacity than there are files stored on the network, in such a case, those GET requests that people make will just exhaust all the SafeCoin reward, like, right away. And then it just stabilizes. Now we've entered 1,000 SafeCoin put request of capacity, and we know we still have more capacity because the next SafeCoin that is spent can still store data. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pay the producer, I mean, in my estimation, pay the producer, pay the app developer, pay the core developer, all from GET requests, is completely logical due to this caching system. Because we have to look at it that the network is vast, that there's enough RAM that people can request, and it enters the cache. Those requests get pulled from the cache simply because there's so much capacity, and there's no way that one single little file will be, like, making any kind of significant impact in such a way that they can game the system. Like, that file goes into cache and then exits cache and then goes into cache. That's not the situation that I believe will occur on the SAFEnetwork. Your file will go into cache, and if a lot of people request that file, it'll probably stay in the cache for its entire existence. And it will never produce another farming reward or another pay the developer reward or another app developer reward for its entire existence. And so if people want to continue to gain farming, to gain in app development or gain in production of content, is to put more content. You see what I mean?
But don't you think that that actually will end up pulling more resources from the farmer's end?
So I think that it's simple to make a ratio, like to suggest like, okay, the farmer will get 1 coin, and then a situation where for every 10 files or 10 megabytes or whatever the metric would be, the developer gets a safe coin, and also the producer gets a safe coin. And then I think that a problem could exist at the point where an app developer gets both a safe coin for the app development and also the content production, yet I still don't feel that that's a gaming situation. It's just a like, you put and you get paid a commission for that. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like, I guess that would be like a situation that doesn't make sense very much. But otherwise, where if the app developer and the content putter are different, like I see that there's no advantage, that you will gain a reward that's very difficult and expensive to get, and more expensive than the reward is worth.
Yeah, I'm not arguing about the gaming aspect. In fact, I agree with you that the gaming is probably insignificant because of the caching.
Right.
The point I'm trying to point out is, I'll put a simple analogy. If you have one cook and one person, that cook can make enough food for that one person, okay? Because you can only cook so much food at a time. So let's say that the farmer is the cook, or the farmer is the guy producing the food, which is the data. They're delivering the data. So now we have a situation where there's more people eating. Let's say there's 10 people eating. That cook has to make 10 meals. Now there's 100 people eating. So if the reason why I introduced the zero vault is to alleviate that burden of the cook having to serve 10 people. So by launching the Safe Launcher, you also launch a zero vault, which doesn't host the chunks. It doesn't store chunks, but it does. It's kind of like a potluck situation where everyone brings a little food so that nobody has to work extra hard to serve everybody else. You see what I'm getting at?
I would say that, okay, from the start of the example, I think one cook could not only serve one person, they can serve themselves and that person. Then, if we think of vaults as cooks, then we have millions of cooks, or like thousands initially, at least, of cooks. So they can serve 10 people and themselves. So,
Yeah, but you're assuming that the population relationship between people that are running vaults and people that are just surfing the network will be at least like 50-50. That'll be 1-to-1. But
as well, one cook can serve 10 people, including themselves.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's why I'm saying they'll have a cap. That's what I'm getting at.
I think
They'll have an amount of people that they can serve, and if the network economy is such that the people getting overwhelms the amount of vaults that are trying to deliver data, then what ends up happening is they don't get a whole lot of income because the people aren't putting, they're getting.
Well, I mean, sincerely, I would say something like pay-per-like. It kind of sounds like belongs in an application where the opinion of people is expensive.
Yeah, it can be in an app.
Yeah.
It can be in an app. The only reason why I was saying it had to be on
Yeah.
the core is because of the farming attempt.
Well, I'm also suggesting that, like, the logical solution is the gets. I can sense that that's the most logical answer. That, like, deviations from that and arguments against the get and the caching, they might appear to be like good, but sincerely, I think that this dynamic caching and the fact that if one would understand or actually perceive that or rather perceive, because I think you could understand, the file goes into cache, and then I think that that's where the opinion gets lost, is that, okay, now it's in cache, and then it drops out of cache, and then gets back in cache, and that's how people make more money. That's not true. I suggest that files go into cache, they stay in cash, and they don't ever produce more currency for anybody. That's what I'm saying. So I think like the answer to pay the producer, pay the app developer is like solidly on GET requests. And we'll discover that empirically. We'll be able to see that. And
Yeah.
and I'm serious about the pay-per-like being a good app, because I also thought like if the forum, like imagine we attach the cryptocurrency to the like button, then it would have a circulating value, because
Exactly.
the community grows, people want to produce content that is relevant to people, and people make a like for that, and they increase the capital value of someone who is posting quality content, right?
Exactly. It's the same way the hearts work on our forum.
Yeah.
People have some. I mean, it's not like people was going to go out of their way to create 1 million accounts just to upvote my one post.
But maybe you make
Yeah,
some
but
kind of throttle how to get the coin. Maybe you need
yeah,
to produce posts that people like first, and then you have like what you say, a zero vault issue.
yeah. I honestly think that we should have a zero vault as part of the launcher.
But think about it. Think about it though for a second. Wait a minute. You make a post, and people read that post. You're going to get coins because of pay the producer.
Yeah,
And then and then you can spend those coins on other people's posts.
yeah. It's a circulating or
Yeah, it's a
self-feedback
self-bootstrap.
system.
Yeah, it has a self-bootstrap on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not at all arguing against pay the producer or pay the
No, this is
developer.
conducive.
I'm just trying to find a way to make it sustainable in the event that, people actually don't put as much to keep up.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, there is going to, for farmers, it is going to be a monetary value with them, providing resources. And it is a monetary cost. I mean, there's just no way around it. For them, the spare storage, like from their hard drives, yeah, that has like minimal, almost no cost, but they do pay for bandwidth. They do pay their ISPs, and if the caching ends up consuming a lot of their bandwidth, and let's say, I mean, I can imagine a scenario where the SAFEnetwork is actually popular and they're running X amount of vaults, but it eats up so much of their upload bandwidth, and it also will consume some of their download bandwidth because of the churn, then they may not be able to, they may have to have a dedicated ISP line, depending on the amount of vaults and the burden of bandwidth that the
Depending
vaults
on
require.
how large. Yeah, but consider, depending on how large the farm is. If you're using your home computer and you have 75, 0.75 megabytes per second upload, then you can, I mean, can you even do a chunk if that's how small your bandwidth is?
I don't know.
Upload
That's exactly a good point.
Yeah, but it's packets are smaller than 1 megabyte, so I think the answer should be yes.
Should be.
Yeah, the network packets would be smaller than 1 megabyte, but it would take more than a second for you to send a single megabyte chunk.
Yeah,
But-
if the
but-
vault, if it's
but-
like, I would say that the zero vault is like the minimum amount of resources required.
Yeah, but
That doesn't even do storage.
I use this situation where you have the worst internet and you use satellite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people have 3 megabytes upload as a standard, right?
No, some people have one.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our phones are, geez, 1
Well-
meg?
True, but structured data is 100 kilobits, but it gets padded to 1 megabyte chunk, maybe. Right.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our discussions are based on what we speculate on what might be, and so I think our testing is actually going to help open up a lot of eyes and say, well, that didn't work, or that works better than we thought it did.
Right. Just like how Raspberry Pi 2 MadeSafe team is adapting the code to work on the Raspberry Pi 2 in a full capacity.
That's awesome.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so my stance for me, because I think a lot of people are like trying to convince me or sway my opinion on things, and I'm just saying, well, if it works, we'll go with it. If it doesn't, then we have to admit it. As hard as it is, I mean, we all like to champion our ideas, but we have to always be open to the possibility of, sorry, but it just doesn't work.
Right.
It's like, this thing is bleep.
But I guess the message is it does work. I mean, I am browsing the SAFEnetwork and the websites. It's amazing. It's slow, but it's better than what I imagined out of the gates.
Yeah,
starting
but
out.
people with, forget about it. Like, even myself with good experience, right? Like, can just type some words and have a website immediately.
That was an awesome.
That was easier than WordPress.
Like, if you tell your friends who have no web developer experience, hey, dude, just use this.
Yeah, if you need
Yeah.
a website, just fucking download this thing, post your website in half an hour. Have a nice day.
Yeah, less than half an hour. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, even less. Even like it took 5 minutes literally. Once it was like, okay.
And if it's really complicated, just have them watch my video.
Yeah, exactly. I saw. Thank you. I mean,
I keep trying to put full, huge, heavy websites up though, and I keep crashing my uploading.
yeah, I think isn't it 1 megabyte is the limit?
Oh,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
my problem?
Each file can only be
Yeah.
1
The networks has a restriction right now because it's just for testing, and they don't want you to, spam it. They would just want to take a little bit. It's kind of like testing the waters. You put your feet in first to see the temperature.
It's 100 computers that have, I think, like 1 CPU core, 1 gigabyte of RAM, and
Wow.
30 gigabytes of hard drive. 100 of those, I think.
And it's running that good. That is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
awesome.
And also, so what I read, there's like a blocker. It gives a timer to slow down people's requests.
Well,
Like-
I'm ready to start putting my petabytes online.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on that very sort of subject, I mean, David, you'd be the perfect person to sort of suggest. Do you want to do a sort of screen share and sort of walk people, show people a live demonstration of the network as it is right now?
I wasn't prepared for that, but I'll try. I'm actually responding to Neil right now on the forum because he's actually asking me about the Safe Gigabyte.
I would do it myself, but since we had obviously technical problems to come on, I'm still not. It's still not launching me. So I can. That's an experience I want to give you. So
Give me 5 minutes, or if someone wants to take over. I just want to get this out because I think it's important that I respond to Neil about his question.
Yeah, I gotta switch accounts, but I could give it a go. Just give me a sec.
So what's everyone been using? I've run it on Ubuntu, Windows 10, Surface. Trying to think what else I've run it on, and it's installed and ran perfectly. I've been really impressed with it.
I just ran it on a MacBook Pro using Chrome, and it worked fine. What was strange is when I first downloaded it, I couldn't get it to work the first day, and I don't think I did anything different. And then the next day when I logged on, it worked just fine. So
It was probably the network was just temporary down.
maybe. Yeah.
Well,
what's everyone's favorite site they've come across on the SAFEnetwork so far?
Man. Just
That's the second or third time I've heard that.
It just takes you back. It just like all of a sudden you're a kid again.
I forwarded the launch onto one of my friends. He's never registered in the forum. He'll talk to me about it, but he's never actually participated at all. And he installed it and ran it, and that was the first response he made to me was, "The Pac-Man is awesome." I thought that was a huge milestone.
Yep. Simple games on the network. Whoever puts up some really simple games that are addictive, that's going to get a lot of gets.
Well, it reminds me. I was a figure I came across this week that in 1992, the total amount of games when the the internet, as we know it, went from being just a private DARPA service to a public service. At the time in 1992, there was only 50 websites on the actual internet, and it just reminded me when I look at that thread and
Wow.
thinking it's probably about the same. But I wonder if 20 years time they're going to look back and go, wow, it's just history has a tendency to repeat itself. That's what I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So go on then, Dally. That's perfect, man. Do you want to screen share?
Yeah, I'm screen sharing, but how do you make it the main thing we all see?
Let's have a look.
Plus, I'm having some network connectivity problems on that computer. Well, it's still connected, but how do I make it the main screen, the central screen? You should be able to make it the central screen. Like make.
If you talk now, I think that's it, Dally.
No, because it's not on the computer that I talk on.
Yeah, it's not coming up when he talks.
Yeah.
But it is on. I can see it.
Yeah, but can you make mine the main screen?
There you go.
Yeah, that's not doing it for us though.
Yeah.
I mean, we can individually click on it and open it up, and it be the main screen. But then
if
the
people
viewers,
watching, they won't see it as the main.
right?
That's the one that's going out live on there now. The main is your screenshot.
It is.
Yeah.
Not on ours though.
No,
I think because when people watch the video, they'll see Dali's screen, but will be like little blocks on the bottom.
Yeah, if you click on the screen, you'll be able to make your own screen bigger.
Oh, I'm logging in.
Huh.
So I'm connected to the launcher, right? And then there's a demo app. And then ask, can you see, or I have bad connection?
It's not coming up on the screen at all for me, but I don't know. I mean, is anybody else getting it?
Yeah,
it's still a little block for me. I'm trying to blow it up.
Yeah, it won't blow up for me either. When I click on it, it just is a black screen.
Yeah, it's coming back. Okay, hold on. I need to make a screen share again.
We should have done a rehearsal.
No,
well, if all else fails, just point them.
We rehearse or not. So
put a link of my videos. That way they can also refer to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Use the Ubuntu version because that one actually shows the correct way to do the pack setup.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Anyway, yeah. So the launcher was awesome. You can make the website so easily. You can host any HTML, JavaScript as well, and you can put pictures, music. You can even connect to outside of SAFEnetwork from there. So I thought that was incredible, that people can do the self-authentication with the launcher, upload a website, and share that website and use the SAFE protocol to connect to that site. So I think job well done. I think it was a great demo, and a lot to look forward to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, I think it's important that we recognise that as Richard's experience and as I'm finding right now, there are going to be, this is test network, so there's going to be times as, to use your great analogy, David, there's times when the baby's going to fall over and graze her knees, and sometimes but that's just all part of the nature, and I think it's important to recognise this, and we don't just say it's all wheels, all the bells and whistles, and this is the greatest thing ever, because it's not. We're in a test network, and so if people, as we're all going to experience, there's going to be times like I'm experiencing right now where it's going to be taking me time to enter and get the launcher going, like Rich mentioned. But that's all part of the test network, and that's why I think we'd all maybe, like Trevor was saying, maybe try to invite people to sort of test it out, because I think the more people that test it out, the better it is, as I understand it.
Mm-hmm. So what's the next thing on the roadmap after this testing's done? Does anybody know offhand?
I think it's to get the routers to connect, no matter what router you're using.
Right. Is it going to automate the pack file placement when you download the launcher, or do you have any idea?
I don't think so, and the reason why is because the launcher acts as a server it's a local server. So I think you always need to proxy through your local host to the port that connects to the safe network.
Okay.
I think
Also, everyone has their own browser, and so to launch the Save launcher would literally have to hijack your browser in order to do it. So, that would be a bad thing to do.
there was a talk about a safe browser.
Yeah, if the launcher comes with its default Save browser the same way the Tor network has its own browser bundle, then that would be perfect. That way, people say, well, what's your OS system? Oh, okay, here's the Safe launcher with the OS, and it has its own safe browser. That would be, people wouldn't have to mess with a pack file or setting up their proxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good evening, Immortal. How are you doing, my brother?
We can't hear you.
No. Just to go sort of like to clarify and go back to the beginning of the conversation, because obviously I missed with technical issues a lot of the pre sort of speech to that.
Sorry about that.
No. I'm as we've been discussing through the week, David. I mean, there's obviously a difference between what is implemented at an app level, which I'm happy to talk about. When I sort of caught the drift of what you were saying. Are you talking about actually paying the per like as in a core level that the network is always going to pay out? Is that the discussion? Yes. Right. Okay. I was just trying to clarify that. Cause
I'll kind of re-summarize everything I was saying. The paper like that I am proposing is very different. In fact, it does not exist in any network that I've seen, and so basically, like I was telling Dali, the first function, the first purpose is you pay one safe coin and you get to like somebody's content. That content has to have a wallet mark address. So it can be an app, it can be a post, it can be somebody's video, somebody's picture, it doesn't matter. And that is all done on the app level. Okay, that's fine. The reason why I had to integrate it with this network at the core level is because it actually triggers a farm attempt for the wallet address. Now, we can't have apps doing farm attempts, for anything. That would be bad. People would just farm for themselves, and you'd have a big mess. So that's why the farm attempt has to be done and triggered on the network level. And the reason why the network can do it is because you paid one safe coin. So it took payment and it does a farm attempt. So you cannot farm more than what you pay, in other words. And there's different reasons why I said that I wanted to do it on the farm level, because if you could just pay to like stuff and that just goes straight to your wallet, well, hell, I'm just going to like my stuff 1,000,000 times. Since the money keeps going to me, I'm just going to keep doing it over and over and over, and I'm going to be the most popular blog poster, the most popular, and so you just ruin the whole point of the liking system, which is to build a reputation. And so does that make sense so far?
No, I mean, on that, well, while we're here, David, and I think I'm quite happy to linger on this point. I mean, I mentioned to you, and you were sort of saying on this very point that, say, if for an app like N99, and we have a position where, for instance, let's pick a number out, 99 likes equals it produces another seed, yeah. Now, couldn't you do so X producer comes along, puts some content on, gets a seed rewarded for that, up to a say, like I said, at 99 point, bang, they get another seed for it, and the 99 people that basically added the likes, couldn't we distribute the coin between them and say, okay, then that's what your reward is for basically adding a like to the person's content? Is that too difficult for the network to do? In that way you can basically reward people who go, oh, okay, there's actually a reason for me to like something because I may get 99th of one of the of the seed or the half the seed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So when someone likes someone else's content, they receive.
So basically, if for instance, if after say, like I say, it's rounded out. Say it's 100 likes will equal one, say for instance, N99 coin, yeah.
Okay.
And at that point, the person who puts it up gets half of it because they that's they made that get the likes to it, and that's their reward for it. The other half of the seed, could that be divided between the 100 people who all added likes onto it?
How would you
And
distribute it to them?
could we do it? That's what I'm saying. Is that possible to do through? I would buy a like through buying. That's what I'm saying. My seed from N99, my token would be able to buy a like. So therefore, it would go through a contract through a safe exchange or through a wallet. Bang! There you would know that I put that like up. Therefore, when it comes back to distributing it, it can go back and reverse the other way around, and then I get rewarded 1/100th of that. The likes. If I put 100 likes on, I get half the seed. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Could it work backwards that way around? So we could reward the people for liking stuff. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think anything can work, and even the system that you're proposing could work. I think there's just complication with the purpose of it and how it gets how the system operates.
Yeah, on the app level, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
On a network level, for me, the GET request makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like that takes care of that side of the balance. You got the put balance and you have the GET balance.
Mm-hmm.
And GET is made of feathers, and the puts are made of bricks of metal, right? And to me, okay, you have many times more gets, obviously, and that balances out the huge weight of the heaviness of spending puts. And then on the app level, you can choose which content is important, and you can introduce an economy of tokens that will consider something as important. And because it's important enough, it feeds back to the whole community, but not like infinitely. It feeds it back in an incremental way. That's my take on what we just heard.
No, that's the relation I really want to sort of tie it to, because I know you mentioned this, David. Maybe give me an explanation of it, or give us all an explanation of this whole. You mentioned SafeCoin and basically having a token or something that's basically always linked to it, and as an inflationary small. You call it GB, and I would just basically explain what you mean by that whole process, and then I've got a couple of thoughts I would like to bounce back with you after you've had you explained it.
Sure. The proposal I made was called Safe Gigabyte, and the way it works is it basically, when you spend SafeCoin to buy storage space, you get what's called a balance. It's a ledger, and it's the amount of puts that you can do. All I did was just change the name from the amount of puts. Like, let's say you spend 1 SafeCoin and it gives you 1,000 puts. So if each put is 1 megabyte worth, that's 1 gigabyte, right? So you spend 1 SafeCoin and you get 1 gigabyte, and so that's the relationship. It is your put balance, or the amount of puts that you can do. What I was suggesting is that people can actually transfer that balance to other people. Okay, so take a minute to absorb that. The reason being is it now creates two currencies on the network. The first currency is the SafeCoin, which is expected to gain in value. It's a good store of value. In fact, it probably will gain more, because over time, as the network grows, it's assumed and speculated that it'll buy more Safe Gigabyte in the future, because people will have bigger hard drives, more bandwidth. Everything tech would just keep increasing. Therefore, one SafeCoin will buy more gigabyte. Originally, Dave Irvine's idea was he named it POR tokens. So POR tokens is basically the same. The only difference is I was suggesting that Safe Gigabyte be used because it is divisible to the smallest amount, which is the smallest put. And I thought originally it was 1 megabyte, but they were telling me, well, since it's a ledger balance, technically you can just break it down all the way to 1 byte, which, that's like a super micropayment. So anyways, the Safe Gigabyte it is a deflationary, or I'm sorry, inflationary currency. In other words, it'll be worth less over time. And the reason why people like an inflationary currency is because it's kind of like those pennies. You know, you walk by, you see a penny, most people don't pick it up because it's nearly worthless. But that's the beauty of it. Because it's nearly worthless, people freely throw it away. They just put it in tip jars. Here's my 2 cents opinion. You know, so it makes perfect sense to say I don't mind spending my safe gigabyte because it's nearly worthless, but you know, it does have a little bit of value. It's not completely worthless. It is a very small denomination in terms of purchasing power, like what you can buy with it. So like right now, if you look at a hard drive today, a 1 terabyte hard drive, that's what, $60. So that equates down to 6 cents per gigabyte. So if you give somebody 1 safe gigabyte, it's like you're giving them 6 cents, 6 pennies. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, yeah.
So over time, that 1 gigabyte will be worth 5 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent. It is slowly decreasing in its fiat value, but the nice thing is it's not volatile. In other words, it's not super volatile like Bitcoin just like shoots up. If you have something that shoots up like crazy, what is your motivation to spend it? You're just like, I want to hold on to it till it goes to 1,000. I want to hold on to it till it goes to 10,000. Hell, I'm never going to sell this thing, you know. So, but if you have something that decreases over time, well, hey, let's spend this. Let's spend this.
Okay, so what you makes sense, but I mean what you say makes sense, but
yes, we do make sense.
Yeah, and then what I wanted to say is that some people will consume SafeCoin because it's in their business to consume SafeCoin.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that. See, this is the argument why some people didn't want Safe Gigabyte, because it actually challenges SafeCoin as a competing currency, because it is a second currency. It is an inflationary currency. While
what about divisibility? Like, what's the point of a Safe Gigabyte other than an index if there's divisibility in SafeCoin?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If SafeCoin is divisible, but that's the form that I'm working with. The thread that I'm trying to resolve with Neo right now is because if actually one SafeCoin consumes a finite amount of storage space, then splitting it actually consumes more storage space.
But then what's the mechanism of sending that Safe Gigabyte or manufacturing the Safe Gigabyte?
It's a ledger. It's a ledger, just like your put balance.
Right, but then about consuming it, like seriously, like the ledger. I don't know. I think with the work I'm doing right now, like taking a Bitcoin and embedding it in the SAFEnetwork, and then just simply scratching off the ledger part and the mining part of it and the network part of Bitcoin, and what you have left is just the hash signature and verification process that people call the blockchain, you know? So, like, thinking about that, like, we don't really need ledgers. If it is what it is, it is what it is. It can't be a duplicate of something else, right? So then...
You're talking about the structured data as being the ledger, basically.
I'm talking about the structured data just holding the contents of validation of some unique data.
That's exactly what I was asking Neo about.
Yeah.
When he was saying that he was going to make SafeCoin divisible, but it would just pertain to the one structured data unit holding the one SafeCoin.
But then, yeah, but then, like, the question is still, like, in my mind, like, what do you mean by, like, how is that mechanism? You spent the SafeCoin, you used 1 megabyte out of your 1,000 megabytes you had for that put. So you have 99 more megabytes you could have put. What do you do with them? And then where I get lost in the definition is, okay, now those 999 megabytes that are outstanding now suddenly go into a coin called the Safe Gigabyte, right?
If you spend the Safe coin to buy Safe Gigabyte, yes.
I see. Oh, I see. So you spend the coin and you buy the Safe Gigabyte.
That's exactly how it works right now.
Right. Yes.
It's your put balance. Yeah.
People consume their coin, and you basically color a
You convert it. You
thousand
convert it into safe gigabyte. Yeah.
So it's not a storage currency, but it's spent in the process of storing information that reflects a new coin called a safe gigabyte.
Right. In fact, it actually condenses the amount of storage required.
But
So let's say you're consuming 100 megabytes by having 100 safe coin. But if you spend 100 safe coin, you release all of that storage that you were using, because it goes into the recycling.
But they're non-redeemable for storage. That's the disconnect. I think that needs to be made clear. It's like these are not for storage.
No, they are for storage.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm asking about. How do you now make a mechanism? Okay, you spent a safe coin, you put information that now creates safe gigabyte coins, and then so now, how do you expect that spending safe gigabyte coins translates into spending safe coin to store data?
No. Okay. Let's back up a little.
Yep.
So when you put data, you spend safe coin, right? And in return, the network creates a balance. It's a ledger, and it tells you have X amount of puts, right? That's your balance.
The network will have to rely on this ledger?
What?
The network will have to consult the ledger to
yeah, it has to know how much puts that you are. In other words, it's a promissory note. It's the network saying, here's your credit of puts that you can do. And so every time you try to put something, the network looks at your ledger of put balance, your put balance, and says, oh, you have X amount of puts. Okay, you want to do? Yeah, no problem. I can do it. And so that authorizes you to put all that stuff through. So if you just change the name from your put balance to safe gigabyte, and the reason why you change it is because now you can transfer that same ability to other people. And because it's still a ledger, it's just a ledger. It's your promissory note. And so the numbers change on the ledger, but the thing itself still does not consume extra storage space in actually the network, because it's only one ledger, it's one structured data unit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of get it. But I'm thinking more like the engineer, like how do we implement something like that? And then it sounds like we have to not modify, but introduce to the network the mechanism for this, reading the ledger and offering capacity in exchange for this safe gigabyte, which was compensated for at the time of its creation.
Right. You create one safe gigabyte ledger the minute you open an account, which Dave Irvine already, I think he pointed that out. It was one of the ideas. Is like you have to spend one safe coin to open an account.
Right.
But I mean, we're kind of going off the soft topic right there. The point is, it is because we're using your very balance, your put balance, as a ledger. Then if we just change the name to, well, it's not a put balance, it's a safe gigabyte, which you can actually transfer that promissory note credit to someone else's promissory note, to someone else's safe gigabyte ledger, then they can spend it in putting storage and uploading whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that's why safe gigabyte it retains an inflationary scenario where it will be worth less over time, and people are more freely able to or willing to spend it. And the nice thing is it is also divisible, because you can spend less than a gigabyte. You can spend a megabyte. You can spend a kilobyte.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's all just a ledger. It's all just a balance. And it does not consume extra storage space, because if you think of it as the safe gigabyte is your checking account, the safe coin is your physical bullion that you hold in a safe. So the more physical bullion you have, the more the space you need in your safe.
You don't even need a ledger. Yeah.
Well, the reason why I say that it's a ledger is because it just keeps track of how much puts that you have safe gigabyte.
You could also design the cryptography in such a way that the network will just know that this is a valid put that is going to be spent and consumed.
Yeah. There's different ways that we can resolve it.
Because I'm thinking.
I'm just working on the base idea.
I'm thinking in terms of the anonymity of people. And on that note, like, wanted to bring up the post I made where Microsoft HoloLens, they have a game where you can play, and it knows the details of your house.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that just was like, that was incredibly cool, and at the same time very dangerous sounding, because the Google can make a, not Google, but Microsoft can make a full database of the contents of your house, and then they can like figure out what has a 3D footprint of like your safe, or like your cash or your gold or whatever it is that
Yeah.
is valuable to them, and they can now be efficient robbers.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, to me that was terrifying. I can't believe if some people will submit themselves, their home, to the dangers of total strangers with a database of all your belongings, and also and it's all because you don't have control of that data. Yeah, and it just inspires me that like open source is so significant, because if you can't audit that code and all of the attachments to that code, like all third-party applications and stuff like that, then it's like there's an eternal, very real danger. Like think if Target leaks your credit card, you can cancel your credit card. And then think if Microsoft leaked your house contents and some robbers downloaded that thing, they go to the area and they know which house to steal and where to steal from. That's going to be like, that's a critical security issue of like epic proportions. And I hope that Microsoft, like just like us talking about it, could at least influence the universe to let them know, like, listen guys, you better do everything correctly, like consider your options in advance.
Well, we can hope, we can put the thought out there.
Yeah.
That's all we can hope for. I mean, I just got to retrack it a little bit on the very aesthetics of having the you wanted to call it, SafeCoin GB. Man, I don't know if the letters GB are very, very kind of hold a lot of negative connotations, man. I mean, I fair enough. I walk around with a passport stamp with GB on it, and I just sort of think if we're going to open up a new network to the world, having the letters GB stamped all over it, I don't know whether that's a maybe we.
Why is that negative?
Great Britain, my friend. I mean, if you live in certain parts of the world, the two letters Great GB don't sound, aren't exactly.
Oh.
I'm very positive. Trust me, my friend.
Oh.
Scotland.
I'm sorry, it's a cultural thing. That's why I didn't get it.
I have to mention it because that's what I mentioned, because it's, I say this because I've been in parts of the world where I've seen just number plates with GB on it, and they've been crossed out, and I don't know. I'm just very aware that how much the touch the English had on, the Great Britain had on our colonial past, and there's a lot of negative connotations out with that GB. It's only something I'm just putting out into the wind. That's all. It's just,
it might be the source of the pushback on the idea, even though it's just a logical idea. It might be the pushback, man.
I get it because of the culture.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, but the reason why it's GB is because GB is very synonymous with all the tech world, where everyone, like people with smartphones, know gigabyte.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that would be their first understanding, is because I have saved gigabyte. Hey, how many saved gigabytes do you have on your account? I got 1,000.
It looks like you're saying save Great Britain.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Well, we could. I mean, if it's really a big issue, then we need to safe puts.
No, I think with all these things, and I think it's one of the things we've learned again from history, is we can, great, if it's got negative connotations, let's reclaim the two letters, man, and like that, exactly it. Let's reclaim the letters. We don't have to be fearful of them. I was just mentioning this from a very, very kind of, very.
Well, it's personal to you, and therefore it's personal to a lot of people.
It's just one of those things. But I think it's.
Just to add in, because you did have a good question about this. Why would someone use the Safe Gigabyte for likes instead of SafeCoin? And I actually wrote a post about it because I actually asked that same question of myself. If you have a currency or SafeCoin and it's increasing in its value, how likely would people be willing to use that for something as trivial as liking something? I mean, right now everyone uses likes because it's free, and to them it's just my 2 cents. That's why I coined the phrase, it's just my 2 cents. So if SafeCoin is worth $10, well, hell, that's an expensive opinion there. You know, so spending Safe Gigabyte would be actually more appealing. It's like, oh, I only spent 6 cents on it, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but considering like Safe Exchange, so like what I've been thinking about is the reputation system, and like if you bought Safe Exchange coin, you can deposit them, give yourself a big reputation, and you pretty much boast your wealth pretty much, or your acquisition of ownership in the exchange. You see what I mean? So,
yeah.
I can imagine that people would do it. Like they would like things for $10.
Yeah, it just depends on the consumer. I'm just trying to appeal to the widest range.
Yeah.
And so this is just my experience and how I see things, and not everyone has to agree with it, but I think that's something that is trivial, that is nearly worthless, that they're very likely to give it away or throw it away.
Yeah.
And I think that Safe Gigabyte it fits that role really well, because I mean we're all hoping that SafeCoin will go up in fiat value, and the fact that SafeCoin is also capped in its supply, it practically assures it that it will go up in fiat value, especially if SafeCoin starts chasing more goods and services. People uploading more content, people finding it more useful to do it on the Safe network than the alternative. So.
And easier.
Easier, exactly.
A load of fun.
Yeah, I mean, our first test network was an awesome experience.
Well, yeah, I agree. Oh my God.
I mean, to us, we're early adopters, so we're expected to be biased. But I'm a consumer experience specialist, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, once we polish this up, and once we show people like how much power they now have, and how much control, they're just going to be like, how did I go without this?
Yeah, that was just the DNS and the NFS.
Yeah, we haven't even really gotten into the rest of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think voting is going to be very, very powerful. If we can get something that works and something that people understand. I was trying to integrate Paperlike into a Swiss Army knife thing that, it brings in income for the network, it stimulates the economy of circulation, it also provides reputation, and people get a useful service because they get to pay for their opinion, and it's meaningful because it costs them.
On an app level, though, that sounds like a good idea to pursue.
Yeah, that would be the alternative that I was going to work with Tim on if we cannot get the rest of the community to see the benefits of Paperlike on a network level. I honestly think that it is extremely helpful. It's more kind of like it regulates the circulation. But, I'm having a hard time trying to convey that to people because this thing's never existed before.
I get the feeling like, because we need to start with a benchmark.
Yeah.
I get the feeling like we're just going to agree that MateSafe will try an implementation. We can see how it goes, talk about it, and maybe some kind of system-wide switch has to happen, yet we might realize like the system can be one way and then the user experience is a different way, and that abstraction is how people interact with that content, and different groups will interact with different content in different ways and get rewarded in different ways that also have a different value depending on same with if you consider SafeGB in Scotland won't go far, but SafeGB in Silicon Valley will go the extra mile. And likewise, all kinds of things get localized, right?
Yeah, that's always going to happen.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we need. We need some kind of generic system, and then our apps, they pursue the utilities that people demand from the respect, or the utilities that people identify with, or exactly what they identify with, depending on their locale, depending on how they found the application. And if we're lucky and we're smart about it, our applications will interoperate in such a way that like we can figure out some benchmarks. So this person has a reputation of 50 likes, or this person has a reputation of 100 seeds, and they're equal.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and that actually plays to what you're saying is, let's say the put balance is just really, it's just a data unit, your put balance. So the application that pulls it can say, well, I don't like seeing this as my put balance. I like seeing this as my storage coins. And so it'll just retranslate it on the app level. And so people can customize their experience. Like I said, culture is personal to you, and therefore it's personal to other people as well.
Right.
So however they like it, and I'm pretty sure like the Asians will change it to whatever they want, and the Russians will change it to, I know, I like this S coin. So yeah, and so I think that's what Seneca was actually tapping into is we pulled the data, but we can translate how we experience the data.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing about what he's working on with the Project Decorum.
Yeah. Yeah, the decentralized forum with a mineable crypto coin.
Yeah, I think his project is going to be really, if once people kind of wrap their minds around what it really is, then they're just going to be like mind blown.
Well, it's going to replace Reddit, I think.
Yeah, if the user experience taps into their pulse to what people can really understand and find very useful, they'll pick it up. You don't even have to sell it.
I think the stage is set because look, everybody likes the forum, and I'm sure each of us on the pod right now have been thinking about when is the decentralized forum we're going to be typing on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So without a doubt.
But people still like moderation. They still like, some, believe it or not, some people like status quo. It's just a hard reality, but I'm sorry to say, but it is a reality. Some people do like it. It's just being honest there.
Yeah, but using safe. Okay, yeah, some people like moderated content, and that's good. And also I would add, like, without moderators, the SAFEnetwork forum would be full of spam.
For sure.
So if we have a coin like a Reddit, like Reddit has you can upvote and downvote things. So if you have a Reddit algorithm attached to a logical coin output algorithm, then people can generate enough currency to vote on things, and not more than enough currency to vote on things.
Exactly.
So no one can just run their machine for infinity, get all the coins, and fuck up the system. So as long as it's smart and it's fair, people can generate just enough coins, participate in the discussions, like things, and they'll develop their own kind of inherent value. But more so, we can type on a forum where people like things into its height. Why should I read this? Because the majority of the community who took the time to acquire some coin through mining purchased the like portion, and the value of the content went up, and that's what people will see, right?
If it's not too expensive for them to spend that, yeah.
Well, exactly. So you can get those coins, right? And then
there is a value to how much people are willing to spend on their opinion.
Well, how much of their compute power they would devote to generating the coins? I think in the case of Project Decorum, right?
Yeah, it also depends on how they value the currency, because like Bitcoin, it really had no base valuation to begin with. It was just a currency that was generated into existence by doing a whole crap load of hashing. And then people later on decided, well, I'd like to use this for buying pizzas. Well, I have no idea what this is worth, so I'm going to spend 10,000 Bitcoins on a pizza.
Well, the guy who spent the 10,000 Bitcoins on a pizza was the first graphics card miner.
Exactly. Yeah. And so over time, people started saying, well, I'd like to try spending Bitcoin for this and that. And my hope is, if SafeCoin is going to become a really good currency, it has to be spendable for other things.
Yeah, well, SafeX comes in for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I'd give a quick update on SafeX.
Cool.
What what I came out to is 3 different interfaces. One for doing a cryptocurrency, one for trading like on an eBay. So the first one would be more like Poloniex. The second one would be like eBay. And then the third one would be some kind of content like music or movies.
Perfect, my friend.
Yeah. And so I'm using the way Bitcoin does transactions to generate a Genesis transaction and then spend from that Genesis transaction. And you transfer the script to someone else's address along with the ownership of the structured data. So you have you augment the contents and therefore you transfer the contents as well. And so you can't spend again what you already sent over to someone else.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Fantastic, Daniel.
And yeah, hopefully we can start testing that on the SAFEnetwork, you know. And obviously there's work for me to do in terms of user interface and to truly polish up the transaction, make sure that it's truly not double spendable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I would just continue what I'm doing, research further, and tackle the user interface. And I will be hiring someone to do that.
I'll help you for free if you need my input.
Yeah.
Once you show me the prototype,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you how I view it, from a new user's perspective, and what might be helpful or what just doesn't quite make sense.
Absolutely. Sometime in 3 weeks, maybe I'll be down the road on the UI.
Yeah.
With the initial designs, and then you could, yeah, that would be awesome. That several of us, you included, if anyone else would like to.
Yeah, and anything I suggest, I do the same thing with MadeSafe and also with Tim's N99 is take what you feel is useful and disregard the rest.
I was thinking to do exactly like how MadeSafe has. They use Electron. So
yeah.
I decided I will do absolutely nothing in a UI personally. I'll devote that and give resources to someone who is already expert in building with Electron. So it'll be like an app identical to SAFEnetwork, the launcher and the demo app. And so that way it could be really nice. And because Rust has the foreign function interface bindings for JavaScript languages, for those libraries, it's an easy integration with. So I just exposed the foreign function interface, like a segment of code that exposes the necessary functions, and then they attach that to the buttons in the Electron, which is some kind of package for JavaScript development of user interfaces. Yes, I feel like I've got it all figured out, and it's going to be great.
Oh, I mean, even if I was actually conversing with a coworker, and I said, surprisingly, not everything works perfect, but life goes on without. Even though, I mean, we have so many things that are just terrible. I mean, they're falling apart, but life goes on, and people still use it. So.
Yeah. Transactions not going through unless you pay $1.
Yeah, no kidding. But you know what? People still use it, and they use it so long as until the next better alternative comes along.
That's why Bitcoin had a value, because it still worked, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The guys bought pizzas.
Yeah.
And no one complained that the Bitcoins didn't work. Right?
Yeah, and so I just want to try and set the tone for everyone that the SAFEnetwork's not going to work perfectly, and it'll probably have some hiccups or things that just didn't quite make sense. And the wonderful thing is, like I told Tim in a previous interview, I'm not going to be subject by my fears. Let's just go out there and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it.
And it's worth it. It's worth it because think.
Yeah.
Bitcoin lost. I remember reading something. Some brewery used to accept Bitcoin, And then, because the confirmations took more than 40 minutes, they decided to discontinue accepting Bitcoin. And like doing something like SAFEnetwork, where we're not even talking about speeding up the blockchain. We're talking about just making real-time transfer of ownership of cryptographic material.
Exactly.
And therefore, isn't that worth pursuing in your entire like mind? Because Bitcoin figured out that you could transfer cryptography and store value. So why don't we just move past that and transfer
Yeah,
value in real time?
we're working on the next level.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah, but we
and
got,
that.
yeah.
No, I was going to say, now you understand why day by day and moment by moment the paradigm is shifting and more people understanding about MadeSafe and what the safe network potential, particularly amongst creators, because this whole new paradigm when it links this whole conversation is you start attracting people who are going to get rewarded for putting content down. It helps both sides, and then the paradigm shifts because right now this is the imbalance of life. People who are producing whatever they be, and I know I talk about art and musicians and stuff, but it doesn't matter what you produce. You produce teacups, you produce towels, you produce whatever. It doesn't matter. If you can reward people directly for that, the whole of the paradigm shifts. This is where the great industrial revolutions happened, and this is where it all fits in. This is why the drive behind what I'm doing with N99 is to reward the people who create, because it helps the network, it helps the creators, and it helps on a really higher level, helps us all as a species, because we've got to get to the point where we're producing stuff and not just consuming stuff.
I think if you give people the tools to produce stuff, we will be very surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think people, not everyone, but most people, they are just naturally creative in their own way. It's not like everyone's going to be great musicians, but they all have something that they're interested in. And Will's always surprised me because he had such a passion for creating the Safe, what's it called, Safe Apps site?
Safe App Store.
Yeah, the Safe App Store. And boy, he just blew me away with how much passion he had with it. And who knew? Who knew? So
I mean, I'll go a step beyond that, David. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I've always said this. I don't know any code. I didn't 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I didn't know what a white paper was. So that's the point. If you follow, I think what Danny was mentioning earlier on, if you can just follow your passions and be brave enough to step into this new world that's being built around us. I say many times, and the universe will, has our backs. You step into that, and this is where you get rewarded, and that's why I say to the people and the creators and stuff, come and share in this reward, because it's just such exciting times. It's what has always excited the creators at any moments of innovation in human history, is when they've all connected and they're like, oh wow, that's why the artists and the engineers and all that happened, and bang, we had the Industrial Revolution. It's just how it's what the great thing of what I think people are understanding day by day what the Safe Network is going to offer. I don't think people have really got their heads around it, like any of us. And we're to use a phrase, we're balls deep in it, and I still every day waking up thinking, wow, there's this potential for it, and it's going to change everything. And I think you're right when you both of you pointed out that people I think are just now understanding and maybe just trickling through about how much this is going to shift everything around us in every facet of life, whether it's from music and arts, whether it's through to, as you were mentioning earlier on, Danny, whether it's through to exchanges, whether it's through to everything. It's going to change everything, and I'm aware, like you were mentioning earlier on, David, that, and Travis has mentioned, people just starting to understand this, and I don't know. I just think it's really, it inspires me on a daily basis, and it's become it is that old Matrix one. You're taking the blue pill, and it just becomes your life, and and this is what I say to people all around me, that this is the essence of we're in lucky times, man. We're in fortunate times, because in 20 years' time, our kids are going to look back at us and say, oh, whoa, it would have been great to live in 2016 when this is all being built. That's all I want, that's just my thoughts on it, really, on this late Sunday night.
Yeah, I just want to point out this is not exactly a popular view, but I think people, there's a big slugfest going on with our forum, and I think mostly people just want a safe network in their own way. And I think it's inevitable that forks will be created because maybe not everybody likes pay the producer, maybe not everybody likes pay the developer. Maybe people prefer, a different kind of mechanism. And I think that that's actually applies to all over the world. I mean, every culture is different, and everyone
Mhm.
likes their own culture. It's just the way it is. I didn't make up this rule. It's just the way it is. And just it's mainly the reason why there's what 600 plus altcoins of the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, it's going to be inevitable that eventually there will be different forks of the
Now,
safe network.
wouldn't it be awesome that we can trade altcoins without depositing with Poloniex?
Yes, and
Mm.
Yeah, I
that
can't stand it. I can't
yeah,
stand
yeah,
it.
I hate exchanges. I really
Yeah,
do.
I can't wait till like I'm serious. Like we need it to tomorrow. Like I better wake up and I can.
We need it yesterday or last year.
No. I mean, let's be realistic. We need it as soon as we wake up. We need to be able to start making our own crypto coins on the Safe Network.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like we
yeah.
need it that fast because like it's crazy. All of the community's wealth is blockaded in a Poloniex.
Well, they're the gatekeepers.
They're earning $50,000 a day in fees. Like
Yeah. Well, I
and
mean,
and they
like I
stand
said,
they could be
that
attacked at any minute of every day, of every second, and all of that just consume not only our project but Ethereum and everybody else's project and their bitcoins. This is like a catastrophic, too big to fail, epic, scary event for me.
yeah, it is, and I don't even want to go into the thing about what happened with. Let's just not even go there.
Well, yeah, I agree because right now we still don't have the perfect alternative.
Yeah,
Yet,
exactly.
yet I know because I'm on it. You know what I mean? I know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
Dude, I was doing the troubleshooting when it happened, so I was just like, this thing
What
isn't.
with Poloniex?
No, with the conversion of the smart property tokens.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, people are still having issues with it right now. Like they bought coins from the crowd sale, but they had the MadeSafe coin sent to their exchange account, and now they can't get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. You mean to their Poloniex exchange account?
I think it went to a Coinbase account. It's the most
Oh
recent one
yeah,
that
yeah,
popped up.
yeah. I wonder how many coins are
Yeah,
blocked.
that's like all gone now. And the
Well, something that's really cool that I mean for me, like I kind of made it because like I hate making transactions online. Now it's not done because I need to tomorrow morning I'm gonna work on downloading unspent transactions from the Bitcoin blockchain.
uh-huh.
But what that lets you do now is you can generate a transaction offline.
That is cool.
Yeah,
Mm.
you can take that transaction, you just copy a bunch of text, and then put it into any online broadcast machine and send your money. Now, the reason it's a not trivial problem is because in order to make a new transaction, you need previous transaction hashes. So if you don't download the blockchain, how are you going to get the previous transaction hash?
Yeah.
So tomorrow I will get into it. Make like an SPV client that will read through unspent transactions that you can either download them. So that means you need to have the Bitcoin sent to you before the download of the chain. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. So so that'll be awesome. I'll love that kind of program. And every
Yeah.
time you want to make a new transaction, you go online somewhere, download the latest parts of the Bitcoin blockchain, bring them back to your offline. Because right now the alternatives are you have Armory online, for example, you use Armory client. armory for Bitcoin. You go online, and you have an offline one. In the online one, okay, you don't compromise your private key, but you still have to go online. It
Yeah.
should be unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to do it all from the same place. So that's what I'm suggesting. If you have Bitcoins from a long time ago, then that's better, right? The longer ago you have them, the better it is for you, because then you don't have to re-download the blockchain. And then you just take the copy of the blockchain, and I think I should package this app together with with a copy of the blockchain. And if it's wrong, then the network will reject your transaction. So there's
Right.
no risk. And then you not integrate, it comes with the blockchain up until today, let's say. And you had your Bitcoin stored in your wallet from 3 days ago. So that means you could import your private key into the app I built, and then you could spend them all offline, build a transaction all offline, and then take that transaction and then broadcast it from an online source of any kind without ever compromising your private key.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like
Outstanding.
yeah, and that's the basis for building altcoins on the SAFEnetwork. Except the difference is you build the Genesis transaction, and then you create the impetus for the random walk that the coins make from there.
I still think that because of the way SafeCoin works, people will eventually migrate to it because it's just more efficient.
Yeah, and then altcoins will make the same sense. It's like,
If anything, they might start making forks of the SafeNetwork and start introducing, a different currency. But
I can't see people
Yeah.
forking SafeNetwork because then you lose that massive generic database.
well, there's I
think
don't know. I
apps
think
will have
I think
forks.
that just depends. I mean, people thought that they would never actually split with Bitcoin, but it happened. There's Bitcoin XT now.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's like a version compatibility.
I don't think it'll be a trivial fork, but I think if a good portion of a community, or maybe even like a giant developer, really believes that something would work better, but our community refuses to make a change or to compromise it, then yeah, that's just inevitable.
Yeah, I can understand that. And also, I can understand forks on the app level. Like, if people want to integrate a feature and the developers refuse or something, people will just fork the app. But then, with all these things, you need adoption. And then I think of the altcoins, like the forks of Bitcoin, and how minuscule they are compared to Bitcoin. So, like, I don't think people uphold those forks. Like, they don't even uphold them. They just have a speculative value versus a actual network value. I imagine if a portion of the mining groups went from Bitcoin mining to altcoin
Ethereum?
destruction, think about it. They would go to altcoin destruction, they would lose money, and that's why they don't bother.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, the future, if I could see the future, I'd probably rule the world already.
Why? What for?
Because I know, it would be an unintentional thing, I would end up like owning everything because I just knew what's coming next and what the next big thing was and what the best, I'm just saying, I'm not willingly, but that's like, to be able to see the future is incredibly powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, people would just see your awesome power, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's beyond that, though, isn't
Yeah, but
that?
in the Bible they kill the prophets, right?
But see, I would see it coming, right? So
Yeah, why don't they
I
ever
could
see
see
it
the
coming?
future. Because maybe they're not real prophets.
False prophet?
Or maybe they could only see certain things. Maybe they were limited.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going off on a tangent. Philosophical.
No,
Did you have any other things that you want to talk about, Tim?
No, I was sorry, I was just thinking on that one. It reminds me of the Bill Hicks joke. You know, like they shot and killed Jesus, killed Gandhi. Do you know what I mean? Killed Lenin, Reagan, wounded. And I think it's just exactly that, man. I'm sorry, whenever I hear that whole point, yeah, they always kill the prophets, man. But and I think it goes back to what you were just trying to say then. You know, it's not about knowing the future. I mean, the whole point, I think step by step showing in the moments we breathe, we're shaping the future. It's not about there's a future out there and we're going to discover it. That's the point of innovation. We are literally shaping the future as we step by step move into the future every day, every moment that passes. And I think that's a really empowering message to humanity, and I think more people are waking up and realizing that, because that's what I'm saying, Dave. It's not just you, it's not just a few people. Anybody can jump on board this and shape it and do it. That's the really inspiring thing, that this isn't all just being done behind a closed curtain, and you've got to have a certain membership or speak a certain language or have a certain set of numbers and names behind you saying, oh, I went to a certain university to be shaping it. Anybody can. And I think that's the really inspiring thing about the days we're living in, and I think that's one of the great inspiring things that gets me up every day about the whole of MaidSafe, really, and the whole of SAFEnetwork. Is it's like, wow, this is such a paradigm shift for us all. And I know I keep saying it over and over again, but you know, I think we're all waking up to that understanding that, you know, we can all shape our own destiny, and I think that's, for all of us, is a mind bend, because trust me, I'm old enough to remember this was all a dream. And that's what I said. I'll go back to the number I said before. In 1992, there were only 50, you know, published websites on the internet, and now look at us. So you can imagine where we're going to be in 20 years' time.
I'm looking forward to, if like I travel to a different state, and when I log into Outlook, and they tell me, go to Gmail and get a special code. So I go to Gmail, and they want me to call them to get another special code at Gmail now, because both detect I'm in a different state. And then I go to Skype, where I can answer the phone, and it tells me I need a special code to answer the phone call, to verify the Gmail, to verify the Outlook. So I can't access anything at all. And if only we had SAFEnetwork, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think that's, I mean, it's kind of like everything at the moment. I mean, you know, whatever the question is, the answer is SAFEnetwork. I mean, it's just the answer to everything, and I can't. That's what I'm saying. It's just, it is mind blowing. But I think this is, I don't know. I think this is why I think we're at this very. Go on.
Yeah, you got to be together with the times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the time is now. People break free from this shackle of Gmail and Outlook. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm getting to the point I can't stand it. Like, I don't want to use it anymore.
Well, it's the very point we're at right now, and I think there's a very good analogy. You know, we've got certain technologies are around, and you know, it's like being back in. Someone's offering you, oh, look, there's a DVD, and someone's like, oh, great, and then someone comes along and says, there's a Blu-ray, that's great. Well, the SAFEnetwork is digital, and it doesn't matter about whether you've got the greatest Blu-ray or a Laserdisc, and that's the real understanding. I don't think many people have really understood and got their heads around it. And like you said,
I think the fact that there's 3 times more people reading the SAFEnetwork forum now, that I think that's starting to change, and yeah, I'm really glad to you, Tim, that you host us on this, even in the late hours of your time. That we're really passionate about this, and it's really good for us to be able to communicate with each other these same intentional ideas.
Yeah, I think the very essence of what we've all, I think the whole SAFEnetwork and everything is basically what we establish in these conversations. And I say this many times before, we may be a ragtag bunch of people spread around the world, but the great advantage of whole, I think, general decentralization in essence is we have this ability to have this free conversation, and we can have private conversations, we can have public conversations, and yet we're all, as you know, we used the analogy before, we're not crabs in a bucket trying to pull each other down. We realise that this is electricity. This is a brand new thing in our hands, and we just better understand how we can make use of it. And I think that's the very essence of where we are, and that's what I think is going to basically where the whole of the paradigm of the whole. I think more and more this trips out to the world is going to shift everything, because once people understand that, wow, like you said, I don't have to be on Google anymore. I don't have to be on Gmail. I don't have to be on Skype. I don't have to have any of these things anymore. Like I've said before, I don't have to have DVDs and big machines to play music and all. We're always striving for innovation, and I can't see personally right now, because it gets me up every day of my life, is the thing that I see around the world that innovates me most and gets me inspired most. And I think the most innovative thing on the planet right now is what we're involved in and what we're shaping. I can't see anything grander than this. I see exciting projects, and I think there's unbelievable stuff going on around. But the fundamental, this is the core of it, and that is inspiring to anybody. And that's why I said to people, I try to say to everyone every day of my life, come and shape this, because this is truly inspirational what's going on right now. And I think it's I said this before, I've been saying it for 2 years. I think it's I said this before, when we're at the epoch moment, and I think a lot of things are going to come on the back of this, but all of it, as he said, is going to be needed for the whole of the live decentralized database, which is essential for any technology that you may want to talk about in the future. It's going to need more and more and more database storage, and that's the only solution coming is made safe and SAFEnetwork. Yeah. Sorry, man. I was on a free throw round there, and I was just.
Yeah, it's good. You're on a roll.
We advance, Mr. Tim.
We do indeed. Well, man, I like I said, like you did allude to there, my friend Daniel. It's very late in the morning over here, so I don't know. I mean, I think tonight I think what's been really kind of been on my mind, and I know I said this to you both privately this week, it's been this whole issue about pay the producer and paper lights, and I think a lot of that's been cleared up, and it's set a lot of questions in my mind, which is great, which is the greatest thing about life indeed, is not to know all the answers, but have more questions formed. So, man, it's been absolute, for me, I think that's covered everything I wanted to cover tonight. I don't know if there's anybody else, I'm saying, if there's anything in particular you or Paul or David or Daniel, or anyone else wants to mention, and bring it up now, because
Oh, I just wanted to talk to Dali privately about his SafeX, because I was wanting to see if he read the thing I posted on his forum. But we could do that after.
Perfect. Well, I tell you what. I mean, if we're all done and dusted, we can call this. We can call the live one off, and then we can maybe talk privately afterwards and stuff. But man,
yeah.
Like I said before, I really. Oh.
All right.
All right. See you guys later. I'll sign off.
Well, I'm getting here just at the end, am I?
Yeah. But you can stay for the after party, John.
Oh well, I've got another engagement here in just a few minutes. I couldn't get a link. You just finally sent me the link. I've been trying to get on since about 6:20.
We've had issues all evening with all sorts of issues.
Oh, okay.
Well, John,
cool.
is there anything you want to say, John? Because you were perfect then. You just descended from on high.
What an entrance.
Just as I was about to press stop broadcast, so if there's anything, man, feel free if you want to enlighten us on anything.
I have no great wisdom to bestow. I just, actually, Daniel, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will want to talk with you briefly. Are you at home with Olga?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to get on with her shortly.
Yeah.
And
we'll do a interview. Yeah.
Yeah, or at least free. Anyway, I did want to touch base with you, and hey, I'm sorry I missed it. I could have at least participated, but I couldn't find out how to connect until you finally sent me a link. Anyway, Well, was it a productive meeting or just a lot of gag and fun?
Both.
No, it's quite productive.
Yeah, a little of both.
Well, that's good. That's the way it should be.
We killed the prophets, apparently.
Oh, that's an inside joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
gotta
ahead.
make some dinner real quick right now, guys.
Okay.
Cool. Like I said before, we're about literally as that great moment in time happened. Well, like I said, from me in Scotland, man, life is people.